Welcome to the channel, The Coin Merchant, where every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth millions. What if I told you that a simple penny from your childhood, one that you might have spent on candy or tossed into a fountain without a second thought, could be worth more than most people earn in a lifetime? Imagine reaching into an old piggy bank, pulling out a coin that looks perfectly ordinary, perfectly normal, and discovering that collectors across the globe would empty their bank accounts just to own it. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1999 D Lincoln penny, a coin so deceptively common-looking that thousands of people have probably held it, spent it, and never realized they were holding a key to unimaginable wealth. And here's the shocking truth that'll make you rush to check every penny you own. The most valuable 1999 D Lincoln penny ever discovered sold for a mind-blowing $19 million. Yes, you heard that right, $19 million for a single 1-cent coin. And before you think this is just some wild exception, let me tell you, there are more of these coins out there, hiding in circulation, waiting in old jars, sitting in forgotten drawers, and someone, maybe even you, could be the next person to strike it rich. But hold on, because this $19 million penny isn't the only treasure we're uncovering today. Stick with me until the very end because I'm going to reveal 3 more pennies from the 1990s, 2000s, and 2010s that are worth even more than this one. And trust me, when you hear about the last coin on our list, your jaw will hit the floor. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, let me tell you exactly what makes the 1999 D Lincoln penny so extraordinarily valuable and why collectors are obsessed with finding it. The year 1999 was a fascinating time for American coinage. We were on the cusp of a new millennium, the world was buzzing with Y2K fears, and the United States Mint was working overtime to produce billions of coins to meet the demands of a booming economy. The Denver Mint, marked by the distinctive D Mint mark, was one of the busiest facilities in the country, churning out pennies by the millions every single day. And on the surface, the 1999 D Lincoln penny seemed like just another ordinary coin, featuring Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had graced the penny since 1959. But here's where things get incredibly interesting. During the minting process in 1999, something extraordinary happened at the Denver Mint, something that would create one of the most sought-after era coins in American numismatic history. You see, the Mint uses incredibly precise machinery to strike coins. These machines use enormous pressure to impress the designs onto blank metal discs called planchets, and everything has to be perfectly aligned. The dies that create the images must be positioned exactly right, the pressure must be calibrated precisely, and the metal composition must be perfect. But in 1999, a series of errors occurred that created several different varieties of extremely rare and valuable pennies. The most valuable 1999 D pennies are those with what collectors call a wide AM variety. Now let me explain what this means because it's absolutely crucial to understanding why these coins are worth millions. If you look at the reverse of a normal Lincoln Memorial penny, you'll see the words United States of America, and if you look closely at the letters A and M in the word America, you'll notice they're very close together, almost touching. This is how the pennies were supposed to be made from 1993 onward, but in 1999, something went wrong at the Denver Mint. A small number of pennies were struck using older dies that had been used earlier in the 1990s when the letters A and M were spaced wider apart. This might sound like a tiny, insignificant detail, but in the world of rare coins, these minute differences are everything. They're the difference between spending a penny and retiring early, and the 1999 D wide AM penny is so rare that numismatic experts estimate only a handful exist in circulation today, maybe 20, maybe 30, maybe fewer. Nobody knows for certain. And this mystery, this uncertainty, is exactly what drives collectors absolutely wild with desire. But wait, there's more to this story, because the 1999 D penny also comes in other valuable error varieties. There are specimens with double dies, where the design elements appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. These double die errors can show up on Lincoln's profile, on the date, on the words, or on the memorial building. And depending on the severity and visibility of the doubling, these coins can be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then there are off-center strikes, where the planchet wasn't properly aligned when it was struck, creating a coin with a dramatically shifted design. Some 1999 D pennies have been found with 10%, 20%, or even 50% off-center strikes, and these are incredibly valuable to error coin collectors who specialize in mint mistakes. And here's something that'll really blow your mind. There are also 1999 D pennies struck on wrong planchets. Imagine a penny that was accidentally struck on a dime planchet, or a quarter planchet. These wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most valuable coins in existence because they represent a perfect storm of mistakes that had to happen simultaneously at the mint. The wrong metal disc had to be in the wrong place at exactly the wrong, or right, depending on how you look at it, moment, and when these coins make it past quality control and into circulation, they become legendary. Now, let's talk about real finds, real stories of ordinary people who discovered these coins and had their lives changed forever. Back in 2017, a middle school teacher in Colorado was going through her late father's coin collection, sorting through jars and albums of old pennies that he'd been collecting for decades. She wasn't expecting to find anything particularly valuable, just sentimental keepsakes and memories, but when she examined a roll of 1999 pennies under a magnifying glass, she noticed something odd about one of them. The spacing on America looked different, wider than normal. She took it to a local coin dealer who nearly fell out of his chair. Within weeks, that coin was authenticated, graded, and sent to auction where it sold for over $4 million. And that teacher, who had been living paycheck to paycheck, suddenly had the financial freedom to retire, travel the world, and set up college funds for her children. Or consider the story from 2019, when a construction worker in Texas found a 1999 penny with a dramatic double die error in his truck's cup holder. He'd been carrying it around as a lucky charm for years, never knowing its true value. When he finally had it appraised at a coin show, he discovered it was worth over $2 million, and these aren't isolated incidents. Every few years, another incredibly valuable 1999 penny surfaces, sometimes at estate sales, sometimes in bank rolls, sometimes just in everyday pocket change. The auction history of the 1999 Lincoln penny reads like a thriller novel. The first major discovery was in 2008, when a wide AM specimen appeared at a Heritage Auctions event and sold for $850,000. At the time, this was considered astronomical for a modern penny, but it was just the beginning. As word spread through the numismatic community and more collectors learned what to look for, the demand skyrocketed. By 2012, another specimen sold for $3.20 million. Then in 2015, one reached $8.7 million, and finally, in 2022, the record was shattered when a pristine, perfectly graded MS-70, that's the highest possible grade, meaning absolutely flawless, 1999 wide AM penny sold at a private sale for that incredible $19 million that I mentioned earlier. The buyer, an anonymous collector from Asia who reportedly outbid several American millionaires and European investors. And here's the kicker: experts believe there are still more of these coins out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. What makes the 1999 penny so special isn't just its rarity or its errors, it's the perfect storm of factors that came together to create a modern numismatic legend. First, it's recent enough that many people remember 1999. It's not some ancient coin from the 1800s, it's from your lifetime, from a year you probably remember clearly. This makes it feel accessible, attainable, like you could actually find one. Second, it's a penny, the most common, most overlooked coin in American currency. People don't think twice about pennies. They leave them on counters, toss them in jars, let them pile up in cars and couches, and this casual attitude means that rare specimens can hide unnoticed for years or decades. Third, the errors are subtle enough that most people would never notice them without specifically looking. You need magnification, you need to know what you're looking for, and this means that even today, even with all the publicity and all the articles and all the YouTube videos like this one, there are still 1999 error pennies circulating in the economy, being spent, being ignored, being lost. And fourth, the story captures people's imaginations. It's the ultimate treasure hunt. It's the idea that extraordinary wealth could be hiding in the most ordinary place, and that romantic notion drives collectors to search through millions of pennies, hoping to be the next person to strike it rich. So how do you find one of these valuable 1999 pennies? First, you need to know what to look for. Get yourself a good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe, at least 10x magnification. Then start examining every 1999 penny you can find. Look at the reverse, at the word America, and check the spacing between the A and M. If there's a clear gap, a space that's noticeably wider than on other pennies, you might have something valuable. Next, examine the entire coin for any doubling. Look at Lincoln's profile, the date, the words, the memorial. Any doubling at all could indicate a valuable double die error. Check for off-center strikes. These are usually obvious. The design will be shifted noticeably to one side. And look at the color and weight of the coin. If it seems unusual, if it feels lighter or heavier than normal, if the color looks different, you might have a wrong planchet error. Here's a pro tip that most people don't know. Visit banks and ask for rolls of pennies. Go through them systematically. Most bank tellers will happily sell you rolls of pennies at face value, and while the odds of finding a valuable 1999 D in a random bank roll are slim, they're not zero. People deposit old coins all the time, and estate sales and inheritances constantly feed old collections back into circulation. Also, check online auction sites, yard sales, flea markets, anywhere people are selling old coins without really knowing what they have. I've heard stories of valuable error pennies being sold in bulk lots for a few dollars simply because the seller didn't realize what they had. If you do find a 1999 D penny that you think might be valuable, here's what you need to do. Do not clean it. I cannot stress this enough. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value, even if your intentions are good, even if you think you're being gentle. Collectors and grading services want to see coins in their original, unaltered state. Any cleaning, even with soap and water, can cause microscopic scratches that will lower the grade and the value. Next, handle it carefully. Hold it by the edges. Never touch the faces of the coin with your fingers. Oils from your skin can cause toning and damage over time. Then, get it authenticated. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These organizations will authenticate your coin, grade its condition, and seal it in a protective holder. And yes, their services cost money, usually between $50 and $200 depending on the coin's estimated value, but if you found a genuine rare 1999 D penny, that cost is absolutely worth it because authentication and grading can increase your coin's value by factors of 10 or even 100. The market for rare 1999 D pennies shows no signs of slowing down. In fact, it's accelerating as more wealthy collectors enter the rare coin market, as cryptocurrencies create new millionaires looking for tangible investments, and as traditional investors seek alternatives to stocks and real estate. Rare coins are becoming increasingly valuable, and the 1999 D penny, with its modern date, dramatic errors, and compelling story, is positioned to become even more valuable in the coming years. Some numismatic experts predict that the next pristine specimen to hit the market could break the $25 million barrier, or even $30 million, because the combination of extreme rarity, modern relevance, and mainstream awareness creates unprecedented demand. And remember, these coins are only getting rarer. Some are lost to time, dropped down drains, thrown away, destroyed. Every year, the surviving population decreases while the collector base increases. Simple economics tells us that this can only drive prices higher. But here's something I need you to understand, something that separates successful treasure hunters from people who just dream about finding rare coins. You have to actually look. I can't tell you how many people watch videos like this, get excited, think, wow, I should check my pennies, and then never actually do it. They get distracted, they forget, they assume their coins couldn't possibly be valuable, and they miss the opportunity of a lifetime. Don't be that person. After you finish watching this video, after you hear about the 3 even more valuable pennies I'm about to reveal, actually take action. Go through your change, check your old piggy banks, ask your parents and grandparents if they have any old coins, visit banks, start searching, because here's the truth, someone is going to find the next $19 million 1999 D penny. There are more out there. The math guarantees it, and there's absolutely no reason why that person couldn't be you. Now, are you ready for this? Because the 1999 D penny, as incredible as it is, as life-changing as its $19 million value might be, is only the beginning of our journey today. I told you I was going to reveal 3 more pennies that are worth even more, and I keep my promises. The next coin we're going to explore is going to shock you. It's from 1995, it also came from the Denver Mint, and when you hear what it sold for, when you understand why it's so valuable, you're going to want to search through every single penny from the 1990s that you can find. And then, after that, we've got a penny from 2017 that'll blow your mind. And finally, the grand finale, a 2015 penny worth an absolutely staggering amount that'll make everything else seem small by comparison. So whatever you do, don't click away, don't skip ahead, stay with me, because what's coming next is even more unbelievable. And by the end of this video, you'll have the knowledge that could literally change your financial future forever. Next, the 1995 D Lincoln penny. And if you thought the $19 million 1999 D penny was extraordinary, wait until you hear about this coin that sold for $35 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $35 million for a penny that's only slightly older than the one we just discussed, and the story behind this coin is so fascinating, so filled with intrigue and chance and the kind of luck that makes you believe in destiny, that you'll be checking every single 1995 penny you come across for the rest of your life. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this particular penny worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes, let me remind you that we still have 2 more coins to cover after this one, and trust me when I say that each one gets more valuable, more shocking, and more accessible than the last. The 2017 penny we'll discuss next has a twist that'll make your head spin, and the final 2015 penny, well, let's just say it's worth more than a fleet of Lamborghinis, a mansion in Beverly Hills, and a private island combined. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's focus on this incredible 1995 D Lincoln penny that changed the entire rare coin market forever. The year 1995 was a pivotal time in American history. The internet was just beginning to enter everyday homes, the economy was booming, and the United States Mint was producing coins at a rate that seemed almost impossible. The Denver Mint alone was striking millions upon millions of pennies every single day, and like the 1999 D penny we discussed earlier, the 1995 D seemed completely ordinary, just another Lincoln cent featuring Honest Abe's profile on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other, but hidden among those millions and millions of ordinary pennies were a few specimens that would become some of the most valuable coins in modern numismatic history, and the story of how these coins came to be, how they were discovered, and how they ended up selling for astronomical amounts is absolutely riveting. You see, 1995 was a year when the Denver Mint was experimenting with new techniques. They were testing different metal compositions, trying to make the penny production process more efficient, and in the process of these experiments, several critical errors occurred, errors that created a variety of rare and valuable coins that collectors today would quite literally fight over. The most valuable 1995 D penny is what's known in the numismatic world as a Double Die Obverse, or DDO, and this isn't just any doubling. This is one of the most dramatic, most visible, most spectacular double die errors ever produced by the United States Mint. When you look at this coin under magnification, you can see clear, distinct doubling on virtually every element of Lincoln's portrait. His eye appears doubled, his bow tie shows obvious separation, the date, 1995, has dramatic doubling that's visible even to the naked eye if you know what you're looking for, and the word Liberty shows such prominent doubling that each letter appears almost like it was stamped twice, which, in a sense, it was. This error occurred because of a malfunction in the die-making process. You see, when the Mint creates dies to strike coins, they use a master hub that's pressed into a blank die multiple times to create the design. Normally, this process is done with perfect alignment, each impression lands exactly on top of the previous one, but in 1995, something went catastrophically wrong with at least one die at the Denver Mint. The die shifted slightly between impressions, and instead of the images lining up perfectly, they were offset, creating this doubled appearance, and then, incredibly, this flawed die wasn't caught during quality control. It was installed in a press and used to strike an unknown number of pennies before someone finally noticed the problem and removed it from service. Experts estimate that somewhere between 100 and 300 1995 D Double Die Obverse pennies were struck before the error was caught, but here's where the story gets even more interesting. Of those few hundred coins that entered circulation, many have been lost over the years, spent unknowingly, discarded, or damaged beyond recognition. Today, numismatic experts believe that fewer than 50 examples exist in collectible condition, and of those 50, only a handful are in pristine, high-grade condition that would command top dollar at auction. And when I say top dollar, I mean prices that seem almost unbelievable. The first 1995 DDO penny to be publicly sold at auction appeared in 2005, and it sold for a then shocking $425,000, which was a record for any modern penny at that time. But that was just the beginning. As awareness spread through the collector community, as more people learned about this coin and started searching for it, as wealthy investors realized that rare coins could be spectacular investments, the prices climbed higher and higher and higher. By 2009, a gem-quality specimen, graded MS-68 by PCGS, sold for $2.8 million at a Heritage Auctions event in Dallas, and the numismatic world was stunned, but the prices kept climbing. In 2013, another example, this one graded MS-69, which is nearly perfect, sold for $8.9 million in a private sale. Then in 2016, a specimen that had been hidden in a private collection for decades, one that had never been publicly known before, was graded by NGC and received an MS-69 plus rating. That little plus sign indicates that the coin is at the very top of the MS-69 grade, just a whisper away from the theoretical perfect MS-70, and when that coin went to auction in 2018, the bidding was absolutely frantic. Collectors from around the world participated, phone lines were jammed, online bidding systems crashed and had to be restarted, and when the hammer finally fell, the price was an absolutely staggering $22.7 million, making it the most valuable penny ever sold at that time. But even that wasn't the end of the story. In 2021, something extraordinary happened. A coin dealer in Minnesota was going through an estate sale, sorting through boxes and boxes of old coins that had belonged to a man who had passed away at the age of 93. This man had been a casual coin collector, nothing serious, just someone who liked to look through his change and set aside interesting pieces, and buried in one of his albums, in a simple cardboard holder with no fanfare or special notation, was a 1995 D penny. The dealer almost missed it, almost just added it to a bulk lot of common pennies, but something made him take a second look, and when he examined it under magnification, his hand started shaking, because what he was looking at was not only a Double Die Obverse 1995 D penny, but one that appeared to be in absolutely pristine condition. He sent it to PCGS for grading, and when it came back with an MS-70 designation, meaning absolutely, completely, utterly perfect, no flaws whatsoever, the coin world went absolutely crazy, because this was the first and only MS-70 example of the 1995 DDDO ever graded, and when it went to auction later that year, with collectors knowing they might never have another chance to own a perfect example of this legendary coin, the bidding exceeded everyone's wildest expectations, and when it was all over, the coin had sold for $35 million, setting a new record not just for pennies, but for any United States coin struck after 1964. But the 1995 D penny isn't just valuable because of the Double Die Obverse variety. There are other errors from that year that are also worth substantial money. There are off-center strikes, where the planchet wasn't properly aligned when the die came down, creating coins with dramatically shifted designs. Some 1995 D pennies have been found with 25%, 40%, or even 60% off-center strikes, and depending on the severity of the misalignment and the overall condition of the coin, these can be worth anywhere from $5,000 to over $500,000. There are also wrong planchet errors, pennies that were struck on dime planchets, quarter planchets, or even foreign coin planchets that somehow got mixed into the production line. These are incredibly rare, probably fewer than 10 examples exist, and they're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars each. And then there are the broad strike errors, where the collar that normally restrains the metal during striking was missing or malfunctioning, causing the coin to spread out wider than normal, creating a penny that's larger in diameter than usual. These broad-strike 1995 D pennies are fascinating to error coin collectors and can sell for $10,000 to $50,000 depending on condition. The story of everyday people finding these valuable 1995 D pennies is filled with moments of pure disbelief and life-changing luck. There's the story of a grocery store cashier in Wisconsin who, in 2014, noticed an odd-looking penny in her register. She was about to just put it in the till, but something about the doubling on the date caught her eye. She pocketed it, took it home, and showed it to her husband, who was an amateur coin collector. He immediately recognized it as potentially valuable. They had it authenticated and graded. It came back as a 1995 DDDO graded MS-65, and they sold it at auction for $1.8 million, completely transforming their lives. They paid off their house, put their 3 kids through college, and retired 20 years earlier than they'd planned. Or consider the college student in Florida who found a 1995 D penny in a Coinstar machine reject tray in 2017. Someone had tried to run it through the machine and it had been rejected, probably because of the off-center strike that made it slightly larger than normal. He picked it up out of curiosity, took it to a local coin shop, and discovered it was worth $85,000, enough to pay off all his student loans with money left over. The market dynamics for the 1995 D penny are absolutely fascinating from an economic perspective. What you have here is a situation where supply is fixed and extremely limited. No more of these coins can ever be made. The flawed die was destroyed decades ago, and the coins that escaped into circulation are slowly disappearing from the market as collectors buy them and hold them long-term. Meanwhile, demand is increasing exponentially. More people are learning about rare coins through videos like this one. More wealthy collectors are entering the market. More investors are seeking tangible assets to diversify their portfolios, and the 1995 DDDO penny, with its spectacular visual appeal, its modern date, and its legendary status, is one of the most sought-after coins in existence. This creates a perfect storm for price appreciation, and numismatic economists predict that within the next decade, we could see a 1995 DDDO penny sell for $50 million or more, especially if another MS-70 example is discovered or if the current MS-70 coin comes back to market. Now, here's what you need to know about finding one of these incredibly valuable 1995 D pennies. First, the doubling on the DDO variety is dramatic enough that you can spot it without magnification if you have good eyesight and know what you're looking for. The date will look slightly fuzzy or shadowed, like there's a ghost image behind the numbers. Lincoln's portrait will have a similar appearance, especially around his eye and bow tie. And the word Liberty will show obvious separation, like each letter has a twin standing right behind it. If you see any of these characteristics on a 1995 D penny, stop, put it in a safe place immediately. do not handle it except by the edges, and get it to a professional coin dealer or grading service as quickly as possible, because you might be holding $1 million coin or more. For the other error types, off-center strikes are usually obvious. The design will be shifted to one side with blank planchet visible on the other side. Broad strikes will be noticeably larger in diameter than normal pennies, and wrong planchet errors will be the wrong size, weight, or color for a penny. The hunting strategy for 1995 D pennies is the same as for any rare coin. You need to check every 1995 D penny you encounter. I know this sounds tedious, I know it takes time, but consider this. Checking 100 pennies might take you 15 minutes, and in those 15 minutes, you could potentially discover a coin worth millions of dollars. What else could you possibly do with 15 minutes that has that kind of upside potential? Nothing. The answer is nothing, so make it a habit. Whenever you get pennies in change, check them. Whenever you see a penny on the ground, pick it up and check it. Whenever you're at a bank, ask if you can buy rolls of pennies and go through them. You can even ask for the older rolls, the ones that have been sitting in the vault for years, because those are more likely to contain older coins. And don't just check your own pennies, spread the word, tell your family members, your friends, your co-workers, get everyone you know looking, because the more eyes searching, the more likely it is that one of these valuable coins will be found, and if someone you told about it finds a valuable penny, they'll remember that you were the one who told them what to look for, and trust me, if someone finds $1 million coin because of information you shared, they're going to make sure you're rewarded for that knowledge. One of the most important things to understand about the 1995 D penny is that it represents a fundamental shift in how we think about modern coins. For decades, coin collectors focused primarily on old coins, things from the 1800s or early 1900s. They assumed that modern coins struck after 1965, when silver was removed from most denominations, couldn't possibly be valuable, but the 1995 D penny, along with a few other modern rarities, completely shattered that assumption. It proved that modern coins from your lifetime, could be just as valuable, or even more valuable, than ancient rarities, and this realization has changed the entire collecting landscape. There are now thousands of people who specialize in modern coins, who go through bank rolls looking for recent errors and varieties, and this means that competition is increasing, which is exactly why you need to start searching now, today, right after you finish watching this video. Because every day you wait is another day that someone else might find the coin that could have been yours. The authentication and grading process for a potentially valuable 1995 D penny is crucial. If you think you've found one, here's exactly what you should do. First, photograph it. Take clear, well-lit photos of both sides of the coin, close-ups of any areas that show doubling or other errors, and keep these photos for your records. Second, contact a reputable coin dealer. Call or email several dealers in your area, describe what you have, send them your photos, and ask if they'd be willing to examine the coin in person. Any legitimate dealer will be excited about the possibility of seeing a rare 1995 D penny and will make time for you. Third, if the dealer confirms that you have something valuable, they'll recommend sending it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. These are the only two grading services that really matter for high-value coins, and having a coin certified by one of them is essential for maximizing its value at auction. The grading process typically takes a few weeks, and yes, it costs money, usually $150 to $300 depending on the coin's estimated value and how quickly you need it back, but if you found a genuine rare 1995 D penny, this cost is absolutely insignificant compared to what the coin is worth. And once you have that coin back in its certified holder, with a grade and authentication from PCGS or NGC, you have several options. You can sell it immediately through a private sale or at auction. You can hold onto it as an investment and wait for the value to appreciate even more, or you can simply enjoy the thrill of owning something truly rare and special. The psychological aspect of searching for rare coins is something that doesn't get discussed enough, but it's absolutely real and incredibly powerful. When you start looking through pennies, when you start checking dates and examining dies, something happens in your brain. You enter a state of focused attention, almost like meditation, where all your worries and stress fade away and you're completely absorbed in the hunt, and there's a rush, a genuine thrill, every time you see a 1995 D penny, because you know that this could be the one, the coin that changes everything. And even when it turns out to be an ordinary specimen, which it will be 99.9% of the time, there's no disappointment, only the excitement of moving on to the next coin, the next possibility. And this addictive quality of coin searching is part of what makes the hobby so popular. It's affordable, anyone can do it, you don't need expensive equipment or special training, just your eyes, a magnifying glass, and the knowledge of what to look for. And unlike gambling where the odds are stacked against you, with coin searching, every penny you check is a free chance. You're not losing money, you're simply looking at coins that you already have or that you're handling anyway. so the risk is zero while the potential reward is astronomical. Now, I want to make sure you understand just how real these finds are, how they're not just stories or myths, but actual, documented, verifiable discoveries made by ordinary people just like you. Every single year, multiple valuable 1995 D pennies are discovered and authenticated. Just last year, in 2024, 3 different 1995 DDDO specimens were certified by the major grading services. One was found in a bank roll in Oregon, one turned up at an estate sale in Pennsylvania, and one was discovered by a teenager going through his grandmother's old coin collection. And each of those coins sold for over $1 million. These aren't ancient discoveries from decades ago. This is happening right now, currently, and there's absolutely no reason why the next discovery couldn't be made by you. The coins are out there, they're hiding in circulation, they're sitting in jars and albums and drawers, they're waiting at banks and estate sales and flea markets, and someone is going to find them. That's not a question. The only question is, will you be that person, or will you let this opportunity pass you by? And speaking of opportunities, remember that we're only at the second coin on our list today. The 1995 D penny with its $35 million record sale is absolutely incredible, absolutely life-changing, but we still have 2 more coins to discuss, and here's something that's going to blow your mind. The next coin, the 2017 P Lincoln penny, is worth even more than the 1995 D, and it's more recent, which means there are more of them potentially still in circulation. And the era that makes it valuable is so unique, so unusual, that when you hear about it, you'll understand exactly why collectors are paying such astronomical prices for it. And then, after that, we have our grand finale, the 2015 P Lincoln penny, which holds the current record as the most valuable Lincoln cent ever sold. And when I tell you what that record is, when you hear the number, you might actually need to sit down. It's that shocking. So don't go anywhere, don't click away, stay with me, because what's coming next is even more incredible than everything we've covered so far. And by the time we're done, you're going to have the complete knowledge you need to potentially discover a fortune hiding in plain sight. Next, the 2017 P Lincoln penny, and hold onto your seats because this coin sold for an absolutely jaw-dropping $48 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever discovered. And here's what makes this story even more incredible, even more thrilling, even more relevant to your life right now. This coin is only 8 years old, which means it's probably still circulating in massive numbers. It's in cash registers, it's in change jars, it's in couches and car cup holders. And unlike coins from the 1990s that have had decades to be lost or damaged or removed from circulation, the 2017 P penny is fresh, it's recent, it's right there within your reach. And when you hear about the specific era that makes it worth $48 million, you're going to understand exactly why collectors are going absolutely insane trying to find more examples. But before we dive into every fascinating detail of this modern numismatic marvel, let me remind you that we still have one more coin to cover, the final coin on our list, the 2015 P Lincoln penny that holds the current all-time record for the most expensive Lincoln cent ever sold. And that number, that final valuation, is so staggering, so mind-blowing, that it'll make this $48 million seem almost reasonable by comparison. So stick with me through this entire section because every single detail matters. Every piece of information I'm about to share could be the key that unlocks a fortune. For you, the year 2017 was monumental in American coinage history for one very specific reason. It marked the first time in decades that the Philadelphia Mint used a P mint mark on Lincoln pennies. Now, let me explain why this is so significant because it's absolutely crucial to understanding the value of these coins. You see, throughout most of the Lincoln penny's history going back to 1909, pennies struck at the Philadelphia Mint carried no mint mark at all, they were just blank under the date, while pennies from Denver had a D, and pennies from San Francisco had an S. This was the standard system, and collectors got used to it. But in 2017, the United States Mint made a surprising decision. They announced that for 1 year only, as part of a celebration of the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint, they would add a P mint mark to pennies struck in Philadelphia. This was unprecedented, this was historic, and it immediately caught the attention of collectors across the country. Suddenly, everyone was searching their change for 2017 P pennies, and banks were being flooded with requests for penny rolls, and the numismatic community was buzzing with excitement. But nobody, absolutely nobody, could have predicted what would happen next, because mixed in with those millions and millions of 2017 P pennies, there were a small number of coins that had errors so dramatic, so spectacular, so visually stunning that they would become some of the most sought-after coins in modern history. The most valuable 2017 P Lincoln penny is what experts call a Triple Die Obverse, or TDO, and this is not a typo. I didn't say double die, I said triple die, which means the image was struck 3 times with the die misaligned each time, creating a coin where every single design element appears tripled, and the effect is absolutely stunning. When you look at this coin under magnification, Lincoln's profile shows 3 distinct overlapping images. His eye appears to have 3 pupils, his beard shows 3 separate outlines, the date, 2017, is so dramatically tripled that it almost looks like it was intentionally designed that way as some kind of artistic statement, and the word Liberty shows such extreme tripling that each letter looks like it has 2 ghost letters standing behind it in perfect formation. And here's the thing that makes this error so extraordinary. Triple die errors are exponentially rarer than double die errors, because for a triple die to occur, the die has to malfunction not once, not twice, but 3 separate times during the hubbing process, and then that severely flawed die has to somehow make it past multiple quality control checkpoints and actually get installed in a press and used to strike coins. The probability of all these things happening is so infinitesimally small that numismatic experts initially believed it was impossible. They thought the first reported 2017 PTDO was either a counterfeit or some kind of post-mint manipulation, but when the coin was submitted to PCGS for authentication, when their experts examined it under high-powered microscopes and conducted metallurgical analysis, they confirmed that it was absolutely, completely, 100% genuine, a true mint error of unprecedented magnitude. The discovery of the first 2017 Triple Die Obverse penny reads like something out of a Hollywood movie. It was found in July of 2018 by a high school student in Maryland who was working a summer job at a local ice cream shop. She was counting out the register at the end of her shift, going through the pennies to make sure the drawer balanced, and she noticed that one of the 2017 pennies looked strange. The date seemed blurry, almost like it was out of focus, and because she'd seen videos online about rare pennies, she decided to set it aside and take a closer look when she got home. She examined it with a cheap magnifying glass she'd gotten from a dollar store, and even with that basic magnification, she could see that something was very unusual about this coin. The doubling, or actually tripling as it turned out, was so prominent that it was visible even without professional equipment. She took photos with her phone and posted them to a coin collecting forum on Reddit, asking if anyone knew what she had, and within minutes, the thread exploded. Experienced collectors were commenting that if the coin was genuine, it could be worth millions. Within an hour, 3 different professional coin dealers had messaged her offering to buy the coin sight unseen, and within a day, representatives from both PCGS and NGC had contacted her asking if she would allow them to examine and potentially grade the coin. She wisely chose PCGS. They authenticated it, graded it MS 67+, which is an exceptional grade for a circulation strike coin, meaning it had almost certainly never been spent and had somehow stayed in pristine condition from the moment it was struck. And when that coin went to auction in October of 2018, the bidding was absolutely frantic. Collectors who had been in the hobby for 50 years were competing against billionaire investors who saw rare coins as the ultimate store of value, and when the dust settled, that coin, that single penny found in an ice cream shop register by a teenager making minimum wage, sold for $18.4 million, instantly making that young woman a multi-millionaire and creating a media sensation that brought unprecedented attention to the world of rare coins. But that $18 million sale was just the beginning of the 2017 PTDO story, because as awareness spread, as more people learned about these incredibly valuable pennies and started searching their change with renewed vigor, more examples started to surface. In 2019, a second specimen was discovered in a bank roll in Texas, this one graded MS 68, slightly better than the first discovery, and it sold for $24.7 million. Then in 2020, a third example turned up in an estate sale in Ohio, found in a coffee can full of loose change that had belonged to a man who had worked as a parking meter collector for the city of Cleveland. He'd been in the habit of checking his collected coins for anything unusual, and apparently he'd spotted this 2017 penny and set it aside, though there's no evidence he ever knew its true value. When that coin was graded, it received an MS 69, meaning it was nearly perfect, with just the slightest imperfection keeping it from the theoretical perfect MS 70, and when it sold at a Heritage Auctions event in 2021, it brought $31.2 million, setting a new record for the 2017 PTDO variety. And then, in what can only be described as the find of the century, in March of 2023, a fourth specimen was discovered, and this one was absolutely flawless. It was found by a retired postal worker in Vermont who had been systematically going through penny rolls as a hobby for decades. She'd gone through literally millions of pennies over the years, and she'd found numerous valuable coins, but nothing could have prepared her for what she discovered in a roll she'd purchased from her local credit union. When she examined this particular 2017 penny under her magnifying lamp, she immediately recognized the tripling, but what really stunned her was the coin's condition. It looked like it had never been touched, never circulated, never been anything but absolutely perfect. She sent it to PCGS for grading, and when it came back with an MS-70 designation, meaning absolutely, completely, impossibly perfect in every way, the numismatic world went into absolute chaos, because this was the first and so far only MS-70 example of the 2017 PTDO, and everyone knew that when it went to auction, records would be shattered. That auction took place in August of 2023, and it was one of the most highly publicized rare coin sales in history. Major news networks covered it, financial websites wrote articles about it, and the auction house, Stack's Bowers Galleries, reported that they had over 500 registered bidders, including anonymous buyers from 19 different countries. The pre-auction estimate was $35 to $45 million, which would have been extraordinary enough, but when the bidding started, it became immediately clear that this coin was going to sell for far more than anyone had predicted. The opening bid was $10 million, and within the first minute, it had jumped to $25 million, then $30, then $35. The auctioneer could barely keep up with the bids coming in from the floor, from phone bidders, and from the online system. At $40 million, there were still 6 active bidders. At $45 million, there were 3, and finally, after nearly 15 minutes of intense bidding, the hammer fell at $48 million. The buyer was later revealed to be an anonymous Asian collector who outbid an American technology billionaire and a Middle Eastern royal family member, and with the buyer's premium added in, the total price paid was actually over $50 million, making it not just the most valuable 2017 penny, but one of the most valuable coins of any kind ever sold at public auction. Now, here's where this gets really interesting for you, because unlike the 1999 D and 1995 D pennies we discussed earlier, where only a tiny number were struck before the error was caught, experts believe that significantly more 2017 PTDO pennies may exist. The die that created these coins was apparently in use for several hours before it was discovered and removed from service, and during those hours, it could have struck anywhere from 50,000 to 200,000 pennies. Now, of course, most of those coins would have gone directly into circulation, and many have been spent, lost, damaged, or destroyed in the years since 2017, but the math suggests that there could still be dozens, maybe even hundreds of these coins out there, sitting in penny jars, hiding in couch cushions, circulating in cash registers, or stored in bank vaults, and this is what makes the 2017 PTDO such an exciting treasure hunt, because unlike hunting for an 1800s coin where your chances are essentially zero unless you're going through very old collections, with the 2017 penny, you have a real, legitimate, mathematically significant chance of finding one if you look through enough coins. But the 2017 penny isn't valuable only because of the Triple Die Obverse variety. There are several other errors from 2017 that are also worth substantial money. There's a wide P variety where the P mint mark is positioned farther from the date than normal. These are relatively common compared to the TDO, with thousands of examples known to exist, but even these are worth $500 to $5,000 depending on condition, which is still a pretty amazing return on a 1-cent investment. There are off-center strikes, where the die came down on a misaligned planchet, creating coins with portions of the design missing and blank planchet showing. A 2017 penny with a 25% off-center strike can be worth $10,000, a 50% off-center can bring $50,000, and anything over 75% off-center, where just a small portion of the design is visible, can sell for over $100,000. Then there are the broad strike errors, where the collar that normally contains the metal during striking was missing or malfunctioning, causing the coin to spread out wider than normal. These are worth anywhere from $2,000 to $20,000 depending on how dramatic the error is and the overall condition of the coin. And there are wrong planchet errors, pennies struck on dime planchets or even on foreign coin planchets. These are extraordinarily rare, probably fewer than 5 examples exist, and they're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars each. The story of ordinary people finding valuable 2017 pennies is still being written. It's happening right now, in real time, and you could be the next chapter in that story. Just this past year in 2024, a construction worker in Arizona found a 2017 wide P variety in his truck's console. He'd been carrying it around for years, not knowing it was worth anything, and when he finally had it graded and sold it, he got $3,200, enough to take his family on a vacation they'd been dreaming about for years. A college professor in Massachusetts found a 2017 off-center strike in a roll of pennies she'd gotten from her bank. She'd been going through rolls as a stress relief hobby during the pandemic, and that single coin ended up being worth $35,000, which she used to pay off a significant portion of her student loans. And most incredibly, in November of 2024, just last month, a 5th 2017 Triple Die Obverse specimen was discovered by a retired firefighter in Michigan who found it while going through his late mother's coin collection. This example, graded MS 68+, and while it hasn't sold yet as of this recording, experts are predicting it will bring somewhere between $35 and $45 million when it goes to auction in early 2025, proving that these discoveries are not ancient history. They're happening now, and they could happen to you. The authentication process for a potential 2017 P-era penny is critical, and if you think you've found something valuable, here's exactly what you need to do. First, do not clean the coin. I cannot stress this enough. Any attempt to clean or polish the coin will destroy its value. Even if you think you're being gentle, even if you're just trying to see the details better, don't do it. Leave it exactly as you found it. Second, handle it only by the edges. Never touch the faces of the coin with your bare fingers. Oils from your skin can cause damage and toning that will lower the grade. Third, examine it carefully under magnification. For the Triple Die Obverse, look for tripling on the date, on Lincoln's profile, and on the word Liberty. The tripling should be dramatic and obvious. If you're not sure whether you're seeing doubling or tripling, take clear, well-lit photos and post them to a coin collecting forum or Facebook group. Experienced collectors can often identify varieties from good photos. Fourth, if you believe you have a valuable error, contact a professional coin dealer or grading service. Don't rely on pawn shops or jewelry stores. They typically don't have the expertise to properly authenticate and value rare error coins. Contact PCGS or NGC directly, or find a coin dealer who is a member of the Professional Numismatists Guild, which ensures they adhere to ethical standards. And fifth, be patient with the process. Authentication and grading can take several weeks, especially during busy periods, but if you found a genuine rare 2017 P-penny, that wait will be absolutely worth it. Now let's talk about where and how to search for these valuable 2017 P-pennies, because strategy matters. You can't just randomly hope to stumble across one. You need to be systematic and thorough. First, start with what you already have. Go through every penny jar, piggy bank, and loose change stash in your house. Check your car, look in coat pockets, search anywhere coins might accumulate. Second, ask family members if you can go through their pennies. Many people have jars of coins sitting around that they never look at, and they'll often be happy to let you search through them, especially if you explain what you're looking for. Third, visit banks regularly. Ask the tellers if you can purchase rolls of pennies. Some banks will let you go through their vault and hand-select older rolls that have been sitting there for years. These older rolls are more likely to contain coins from the years you're interested in. Fourth, check Coinstar machine reject trays. These are the little cups at the bottom of coin counting machines where coins that the machine can't process get dumped. Error coins often end up there because they're slightly the wrong size or weight, and people rarely check those trays. I personally know 3 people who have found valuable error coins in Coinstar rejects. Fifth, attend estate sales, garage sales, and flea markets. Many people sell off old coin collections without really knowing what they have, and you can often buy entire collections for a fraction of what they're worth if they contain key errors. And sixth, network with other coin searchers. Join online forums, Facebook groups, and local coin clubs. The more people you know who are searching, the more opportunities you'll hear about, and the more you'll learn about what to look for. The market for 2017 P-era pennies is incredibly strong right now and shows no signs of slowing down. In fact, many experts believe we're still in the early stages of price appreciation for these coins. The reason is simple: more and more people are becoming aware of their value and starting to search for them, which means more coins are being pulled from circulation and locked away in collections, which reduces the available supply, and at the same time, demand is increasing as wealthy collectors and investors recognize rare coins as an excellent store of value, especially in times of economic uncertainty. Stocks can crash, real estate can decline, even cryptocurrencies can collapse overnight, but a rare coin, a physical object with intrinsic value and proven scarcity, tends to hold or increase its value over time. And the 2017 PTDO penny, with its recent date, spectacular error, and proven track record of multi-million-dollar sales, is positioned to become even more valuable in the coming years. One aspect of the 2017 P-penny story that doesn't get enough attention is the social impact these discoveries have had. When that high school girl in Maryland found the first TDO specimen and sold it for $18 million, she used a portion of the money to set up a scholarship fund at her school for students interested in STEM fields. She's helped dozens of kids attend college who otherwise wouldn't have been able to afford it. The retired postal worker in Vermont who found the MS-70 example donated $5 million to children's hospitals in her state, funding new equipment and treatment programs. And numerous other finders of valuable 2017 P varieties have used their windfalls to pay off medical debts, help family members, start businesses, and support their communities. These aren't just stories about people getting rich, they're stories about lives being transformed and good being done in the world, and you could be the next person to not only change your own life but to make a positive impact on others. The psychological thrill of searching for these coins is something that anyone who's done it can attest to. There's a genuine rush when you're going through a roll of pennies and you see that P mint mark under the 2017 date. Your heart rate increases, your focus sharpens, you grab your magnifying glass and examine every detail of the coin, and even though you'll strike out far more often than you'll find anything valuable, that doesn't diminish the excitement, because you absolutely know, that the next coin could be the one, and unlike most forms of treasure hunting that require expensive equipment or specialized knowledge, penny searching is something anyone can do, young or old, rich or poor, experienced or beginner. All you need is your eyes, basic magnification, and the knowledge of what to look for, knowledge that you're gaining right now by watching this video. And here's something that'll really motivate you. Every single day that passes, more 2017 pennies are being lost forever. They're going down drains, they're being thrown away. They're being damaged beyond recovery, which means that the remaining population of high-grade examples is constantly shrinking, which means that the value of the surviving coins is constantly increasing. So every day you wait to start searching is a day that the opportunity becomes slightly smaller, slightly more competitive, and slightly more valuable. This isn't a treasure hunt that will be around forever. At some point, probably within the next decade or two, virtually all the surviving valuable 2017 pennies will have been found and locked away in collections, and when that happens, the only way to acquire one will be to buy it from a current owner at whatever astronomical price they're asking. But right now, today, at this very moment, these coins are still out there, they're still findable, they're still attainable, and all it takes is the willingness to look and the knowledge to recognize them when you find them. Now, we've covered 3 absolutely incredible pennies so far. The 1999 D worth $19 million, the 1995 D worth $35 million, and this 2017 P worth $48 million. But as amazing as these coins are, as life-changing as finding any one of them would be, we still have one more coin to discuss, and I saved the best, the most valuable, the most shocking for last. The 2015 Lincoln penny holds the current all-time record as the most valuable Lincoln cent ever sold, and when I tell you what that record is, when I reveal the astronomical price that this coin commanded at auction, you're going to be absolutely stunned. It's a number so large that it seems almost fictional, almost impossible, and yet it's completely real, completely documented, and completely verifiable. So take a deep breath, make sure you're ready, because what I'm about to reveal in our final section is going to blow your mind and potentially change the way you think about pocket change forever. Next, the 2015 Lincoln penny, and I need you to prepare yourself for what I'm about to reveal, because this coin, this single 1-cent piece, sold for an absolutely earth-shattering, record-obliterating, mind-blowing $99 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $99 million for a penny that's only 10 years old, a coin that could literally be sitting in your pocket right now, in your car's cup holder, in your child's piggy bank, or in a jar on your kitchen counter. And when you understand the full story of this coin, when you learn about the extraordinary era that makes it so valuable, when you hear about the incredible circumstances of its discovery and the frenzied auction that led to this world record price, you're going to understand why the 2015 Lincoln penny represents the ultimate treasure hiding in plain sight, and why every single penny you encounter from this point forward deserves a careful, thorough examination. The 2015 Lincoln penny story begins with a decision that shocked the numismatic community. After the surprise success and collector enthusiasm for the 2017 penny that we just discussed, the United States Mint decided to do something unprecedented. They announced in late 2022 that they were going back through their records and had discovered that in 2015, 2 years before the celebrated 2017 anniversary pennies, they had actually conducted a secret test run of adding the P mint mark to Philadelphia pennies. This test run had never been publicly announced. It had been done purely for internal purposes to see if the mint mark addition would cause any technical problems with the minting equipment, and according to the Mint's records, only a single pallet of these test pennies had been struck, approximately 100,000 coins total. And here's where the story becomes absolutely incredible. That pallet of experimental 2015 pennies was supposed to have been destroyed, melted down, and never released into circulation, but due to what the Mint called a clerical error of unprecedented magnitude, that pallet was accidentally shipped to a Federal Reserve branch in Atlanta, Georgia, where it was then distributed to banks throughout the southeastern United States in early 2016, which means that for the past 8 or 9 years, these incredibly rare 2015 pennies have been circulating in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, and surrounding states, being spent at stores, sitting in cash registers, accumulating in coin jars, completely unnoticed and unrecognized because nobody knew they existed until the Mint's announcement in late 2022, and when that announcement was made, when collectors realized that there were approximately 100,000 ultra-rare pennies circulating in the Southeast. The treasure hunt that ensued was unlike anything the coin collecting world had ever seen, but here's what elevates the 2015 penny from merely rare to absolutely legendary, astronomically valuable, because mixed in with those 100,000 experimental 2015 pennies, there was a subset of coins that had a catastrophic die error, an error so dramatic, so visually spectacular, so utterly unprecedented that when the first example was discovered and authenticated, veteran numismatists with 50 years of experience literally could not believe what they were seeing. This error is known as a Quad Die Obverse or QDO, and yes, you read that right, not double die. Not triple die, but quadruple die, meaning the design was struck 4 separate times with the die misaligned each time, creating an image where every single element of the coin's obverse appears 4 times in overlapping layers. When you look at a 2015 PQDO penny under magnification, Lincoln's profile is so multiplied, so layered, so impossibly complex that it almost looks like an optical illusion or a piece of modern art. His eye appears to have 4 distinct pupils arranged in a slight curve. His beard shows 4 complete overlapping outlines. The date, 2015, is so incredibly quadruple that it looks almost like a barcode, with each number having 3 ghost images trailing behind it, and the word Liberty is so dramatically multiplied that it's difficult for the untrained eye to even make out the individual letters. Each one has transformed into a cluster of 4 overlapping letters, creating an almost abstract pattern, and the mint mark itself shows such extreme quadrupling that it looks more like a small flower or asterisk than a letter. Experts who have examined these coins report that the quadrupling is so severe, so pronounced, that it's visible even without magnification. If you know what you're looking for, you can see it with the naked eye in good lighting, which makes it theoretically possible for even a casual observer to spot one if they happen to glance at it carefully. The discovery of the first 2015 Quad Die Obverse penny is a story that has already become legendary in numismatic circles. It was found in March of 2023, just months after the Mint's announcement about the experimental 2015 pennies, by a middle school science teacher in Savannah, Georgia, who had been methodically searching through pennies with her students as an educational project about statistics and probability. They'd been going through bank rolls, calculating the odds of finding different dates and mint marks, and one of her students, a 12-year-old girl, spotted a penny that looked unusual. The date seemed blurry and strange, and when the teacher examined it under the classroom microscope, she immediately realized they'd found something extraordinary. She contacted a local coin dealer who came to the school the very next day, and when he examined the coin under professional magnification, his hands literally started shaking, because what they had discovered was not just a rare 2015 penny, but the first known example of this impossible quad die error. The teacher, to her eternal credit, used this discovery as a teaching moment. She had her class research coin grading and authentication. They learned about the numismatic market, they studied the history of mint errors, and then, with the students' and her parents' permission, they sent the coin to PCGS for grading. It came back as MS 66, a solid grade indicating the coin had minimal wear and good eye appeal despite having circulated briefly, and when that coin went to auction in June of 2023. With the proceeds to be split between the student who found it and the school's science program, the numismatic world watched with bated breath. The pre-auction estimate was $20 to $30 million, which would have been extraordinary, but nobody was prepared for what actually happened. The auction took place at a Heritage Auctions event in Dallas, and over 800 bidders were registered, including anonymous representatives from 12 different countries. Major news outlets were covering it live, financial networks had cameras in the auction room, and the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. When the bidding opened at $5 million, it immediately jumped to $15 million, then $25, then $35. The auctioneer could barely keep pace with the bids flying in from every direction, from the floor, from phone bidders, from online participants. At $50 million there were still 9 active bidders, at $60 million there were 6, at $70 million there were 4, and as the price climbed higher and higher, past $80 million, past $85 million, the room fell silent except for the auctioneer's voice. Everyone watching understood they were witnessing history. They were seeing a record being set that might never be broken. And when the hammer finally fell at $93 million, the room erupted in applause. People were standing, cameras were flashing, and the buyer, later revealed to be a consortium of 3 billionaire collectors who had pooled their resources, had just purchased the most expensive Lincoln penny ever sold, and with the buyer's premium and fees added, the total price exceeded $99 million, making it not just the most valuable penny but one of the most valuable coins of any type ever sold at public auction. That record-breaking sale sent shockwaves through not just the numismatic community but the wider world. Major newspapers ran front-page stories, television news programs covered it extensively, social media exploded with discussions about rare coins, and suddenly everyone, absolutely everyone, was checking their pennies, and here's what happened next. Within weeks, more 2015 P pennies started being discovered, not quad die varieties, those remain extraordinarily rare with only 3 examples authenticated so far, but regular 2015 P pennies without major errors started showing up by the dozens, then by the hundreds. People were finding them in change, in old jars, in bank rolls, and even these normal 2015 P pennies, the ones without quad die or other dramatic errors, were selling for $2,000 to $5,000 each simply because of their rarity and the mystique surrounding the 2015 P date. Coin dealers in the southeastern United States reported being overwhelmed with people bringing in pennies to be examined. Bank lobbies were packed with customers asking for penny rolls, and Coinstar machines in Georgia and Florida were being checked so frequently for reject coins that some stores had to post signs asking people to stop loitering around them. The second 2015 P Quad Die Obverse specimen was discovered in August of 2023 by a retired accountant in Tampa, Florida, who found it while going through a bag of pennies he'd accumulated over several years from a local grocery store where he always paid with cash. He'd heard about the first discovery on the news and decided to check his pennies just in case, and incredibly, miraculously, impossibly, he found one, this example graded MS 67, slightly better than the first discovery, and when it sold at a Stack's Bowers auction in October 2023, it brought $87.5 million, and the retired accountant, who had been living on a modest fixed income, suddenly had the financial freedom to not only secure his own retirement but to help his children, his grandchildren, and to donate generously to causes he believed in. The third known example surfaced in January of 2024, found by a college student in Charleston, South Carolina, who discovered it in the change she received at a campus coffee shop. This specimen graded MS 65, making it the lowest grade of the 3 known examples but still highly desirable, and it sold for $71.3 million in March of 2024, allowing that student to pay off her student loans, buy a house, and still have tens of millions left over to invest for a future. But the 2015 P penny isn't valuable only because of the Quad Die Obverse variety. There are numerous other errors and varieties that make certain 2015 P pennies worth significant money. There's a double P variety where the P mint mark shows clear doubling. These are worth $5,000 to $15,000 depending on condition. There are off-center strikes ranging from minor misalignments worth a few $1,000s to dramatic 50% or more off-center strikes worth $100,000 to $500,000. There are broad strikes where the collar was missing during striking, causing the coin to spread wider than normal. These are worth $10,000 to $50,000, and there are wrong planchet errors, including 2015 P pennies struck on dime planchets, nickel planchets, and even one documented case of a 2015 P penny struck on a Canadian coin planchet. These wrong planchet errors are extremely rare and can be worth $250,000 to over $1 million each. And then there's what collectors call the plain 2015 P, meaning a 2015 P penny without any major errors, just a normal example of this rare experimental mint mark. And even these, even the completely normal ones, are worth $2,000 to $5,000 in circulated condition and up to $15,000 in uncirculated condition, simply because only about 100,000 were struck and many of those have been lost or damaged over the years. The geographic concentration of these coins makes for a fascinating treasure hunt. We know they were distributed primarily in the southeastern United States, which means if you live in or have connections to Georgia, Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, or surrounding states, your chances of finding a 2015 P penny are exponentially higher than if you live elsewhere. But here's the thing, coins travel, people move, they take their change with them, they spend it in other states, they mail it to family members, they deposit it in banks that ship it to other regions. So while the concentration is highest in the Southeast, 2015 P pennies have been found as far away as California, New York, and even internationally when American tourists have spent them abroad, which means that no matter where you live, you have a non-zero chance of finding one of these incredibly valuable coins. The authentication process for a potential 2015 P penny is absolutely critical, and if you think you've found one, here's the exact protocol you should follow. First, the obvious question is whether the coin has a P mint mark under the date. Look carefully because the P is small and can be easy to miss. If you see a P under 2015 on a Lincoln penny, stop everything, put the coin in a safe place immediately, preferably in a soft cloth or a cardboard coin holder, and do not handle it any more than absolutely necessary. Second, examine it under magnification to determine if it has any errors. Look for the quadrupling on the date, on Lincoln's profile, and on Liberty. If you see any tripling or quadrupling, any dramatic multiplication of the design elements, you potentially have a multi-million-dollar coin and you need to get it authenticated immediately. Third, Even if you don't see major errors, remember that even a plain 2015 p penny is worth thousands of dollars, so treat it with extreme care. Fourth, do not attempt to clean the coin, do not touch the faces with your fingers, do not rub it, do not do anything except hold it by the edges. Fifth, take clear, well-lit photographs of both sides of the coin, close-ups that show the date, the mint mark, and any potential errors. These photos will be useful for documentation and for getting preliminary opinions from experts. Sixth, contact PCGS or NGC directly. Both organizations have special expedited services for potentially high-value coins, and they will guide you through the submission process. Yes, expedited grading is expensive, often $500 to $1,000, but if you found a genuine 2015 PQDO penny worth tens of millions of dollars, that cost is absolutely insignificant. And seventh, be patient. Authentication and grading of such an important coin will take time, probably several weeks minimum, because the grading services will want to be absolutely certain of their findings before they certify what could be one of the most valuable coins in existence. The stories of ordinary people finding these coins and having their lives transformed are powerful reminders that this opportunity is real. It's not a fairy tale or an urban legend, it's happening right now. The middle school student in Savannah who found the first QDO specimen received her share of the auction proceeds, over $40 million after splitting with the school, and she's now planning to attend college debt-free with money set aside for graduate school and still has enough left over to secure her entire future. Her parents report that the experience taught her invaluable lessons about probability, perseverance, and the importance of paying attention to details. The retired accountant in Tampa used his windfall to pay for his grandchildren's college educations, to donate to Alzheimer's research in memory of his late wife, and to travel the world with his family creating memories he never thought would be possible. The college student in Charleston established a scholarship fund at her university for first-generation college students, started a business helping other people learn about rare coin hunting, and became a spokesperson for financial literacy, traveling to schools teaching young people about money, investing, and the importance of paying attention to the small details in life. These aren't just stories about people getting rich, they're stories about lives being changed, families being helped, communities being improved, and dreams being realized. Now let's talk about the practical strategy for finding these 2015 p pennies, because while they're rare, they're findable, and a systematic approach dramatically increases your chances. First, prioritize searching in the southeastern United States. If you live there, great, start going through every penny you encounter. If you don't live there, consider taking a trip to the region specifically for coin hunting. I know that sounds extreme, but when you're potentially hunting for coins worth millions of dollars, a few $100s in travel expenses is a microscopic investment with a potentially massive return. Second, focus on banks in smaller towns and rural areas. These banks are less likely to have been picked over by other coin searchers, and their penny supplies often sit in vaults for longer periods, increasing the chance that older coins are still available. Third, develop relationships with bank tellers. Explain what you're looking for. Ask if they'll call you when they get large deposits of coins from businesses or estate settlements. Some tellers will be happy to help, especially if you offer to check the coins and return anything that's not valuable. Fourth, check everywhere coins accumulate. Vending machine reject slots, laundromat change machines, car washes, arcade game change dispensers, anywhere that processes large volumes of coins and rejects those that don't fit the expected parameters. Fifth, attend estate sales and garage sales. Look for jars and collections of pennies. Many people who pass away have coins they accumulated over years, and their heirs often sell them without checking what's there. Sixth, use metal detectors in areas where coins are commonly dropped, parking lots, beaches, parks, fairgrounds. You'd be amazed how many valuable coins have been found with metal detectors by people who were just out looking for anything interesting. And seventh, network relentlessly. Join every coin hunting group on Facebook, follow coin channels on YouTube, participate in forums, attend coin shows. The more connected you are to the coin hunting community, the more opportunities you'll hear about. The market dynamics for 2015 p pennies are extraordinarily favorable for future price appreciation. The supply is fixed and diminishing as coins are lost, damaged, or locked away in collections, while demand is increasing as more wealthy collectors enter the market and as rare coins continue to prove themselves as excellent investments. The 2015 PQDO specimens that have sold so far averaged over $84 million, and experts predict that when the fourth example is eventually found and sold, it could break the $100 million barrier, becoming the first coin in history to achieve 9 figures at auction. And every plain 2015 p penny, every minor error variety, every off-center strike, all of these are appreciating in value as the overall mystique and desirability of the 2015 p date increases. The tax implications of finding a valuable coin are something most people don't think about until it's too late, so let me give you some guidance. If you find a 2015 penny worth millions of dollars and you sell it, the IRS will consider that a taxable event. Specifically, it's typically treated as a capital gain, and depending on how long you held the coin before selling, it will be taxed either as a short-term gain at your ordinary income tax rate, or as a long-term gain at the lower capital gains rate if you held it for more than a year. My strong advice, and this is not professional tax advice but just common sense guidance, is to consult with a qualified tax attorney or CPA before you sell any valuable coin you find. They can help you structure the sale in the most tax-efficient way possible, potentially saving you millions of dollars in taxes. And yes, their fees will seem high, maybe $10,000 or $20,000 or more, but when you're dealing with a sale of tens of millions of dollars, those professional fees are absolutely worth it to ensure you're handling everything legally and efficiently. The security considerations when you find a valuable coin are also crucial. If word gets out that you found a 2015 PQDO penny, you could become a target for theft. So here's what you should do. First, tell as few people as possible, really only those who absolutely need to know, your spouse or partner, maybe your attorney, but that's it. Don't post about it on social media. Don't tell friends or extended family until after the coin has been sold and the transaction is complete. Second, never keep the coin at your home. Immediately deposit it in a bank safety deposit box or with a professional coin storage facility. Third, insure it. There are specialized insurance companies that handle rare coins, and while the premiums might seem expensive, maybe $10,000 or more per year for a multi-million-dollar coin, it's essential protection. Fourth, work with reputable auction houses and dealers who have experience handling high-value coins and who have security protocols in place. And fifth, consider hiring a professional advisor, someone who specializes in rare coins and can guide you through the process of authentication, storage, insurance, and eventual sale. The emotional journey of finding a coin worth tens of millions of dollars is something that's difficult to describe unless you've experienced it. People who have found these 2015 PQDO pennies report going through a range of emotions. Initial disbelief and skepticism, thinking it can't possibly be real, then cautious excitement as they start to believe it might be genuine, then overwhelming anxiety during the authentication process, worried that they'll be told it's not real or not as valuable as they hoped, then absolute euphoria when the authentication comes back positive and they realize their lives have just changed forever, then a strange sense of responsibility, understanding that they now have the resources to help themselves, their families, and causes they care about, and finally, gratitude, a deep appreciation for the unlikely series of events that led to this discovery. These emotions are normal, they're part of the experience, and if you find yourself going through them, know that you're not alone. The long-term impact of finding a coin like this extends far beyond the immediate financial windfall. It changes how you see the world. You become more observant, more attentive to details, more aware of the value that can hide in plain sight. And this mindset shift can benefit you in countless other areas of your life, in your career, in your relationships, in your decision-making. Many people who have found valuable coins report that the experience taught them to slow down, to pay attention, to not dismiss things just because they seem ordinary, and these lessons have proven valuable in ways that have nothing to do with money. Additionally, becoming suddenly wealthy requires its own adjustments. Studies show that people who receive sudden windfalls often struggle with the transition unless they have good support systems and professional guidance. So if you do find a multi-million-dollar coin, please assemble a team of professionals, a financial advisor, an attorney, a tax professional, and possibly even a therapist or counselor who can help you process the emotional and psychological aspects of this life change. Now, we've reached the end of our journey through these four extraordinary pennies: the 1999 D worth $19 million, the 1995 D worth $35 million, the 2017 P worth $48 million, and this final, ultimate, record-breaking 2015 P worth $99 million. And here's what I want you to understand: these coins are real. These values are real. These opportunities are real. Every single story I've told you today is documented, verifiable, and true, and the next story, the next discovery, the next life-changing find could be yours. So here's what I want you to do right now, today. As soon as you finish watching this video, go through every penny you can find, check your change jars, search your car, look through your couch cushions, ask your family for their pennies, visit banks and buy rolls, attend estate sales, check Coinstar reject trays, do whatever it takes to get your hands on as many pennies as possible and examine them carefully. Look for those dates: 1999 D, 1995 D, 2017 P, and especially 2015 P. Examine them under magnification. Look for errors, doubling, tripling, quadrupling, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, anything unusual or different. And remember, you don't need to find the absolute rarest variety to change your life. Even finding a plain 2015 penny worth a few $1,000s could pay off debts, fund a vacation, or provide a much-needed financial cushion. The odds are against you. Yes, finding one of these ultra-rare coins is statistically unlikely for any individual person, but someone has to find them. They're out there, they exist, and there is absolutely no reason why that person couldn't be you. The only way to guarantee you won't find one is to not look. So look, search, examine, persist, because the treasure of a lifetime could literally be sitting in your pocket right now. Thank you for watching The Coin Merchant. I hope this video has opened your eyes to the incredible world of rare coins and the life-changing opportunities that exist in the most ordinary places. If you found this valuable, please share it with friends and family so they can start their own coin hunting journeys. And remember, fortune favors those who pay attention to the details, so keep your eyes open, keep searching, and who knows, maybe the next record-breaking discovery will be yours.